This next page in our 30 days of expressive art journaling, I am going to do what I call a crazy emotion color wheel. It's just a name I made up. It's not an actual thing. And what I'm going to do is pull out magazine pages, and I've gone ahead and done that ahead of time. I've looked through magazines, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for long stretches of a color or a pattern, or if it's like something in nature, like the leaves on a tree or something like that, but a longish stretch rather than like just a short little like a bush that's with like a rose bush that's a little small. I'm looking for something bigger. So I'm not looking for the small images like a small photo of a rose bush. I'm looking for these longer areas of like a unified pattern or unified color, because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting these into triangles. Let me show you on this one. They don't have to be any special like officialness or anything. Just a longish triangle that we want it to come to a point. So I didn't do that very well, did I? Goodness. Okay. And then what I would do is I would glue this with the point in the center. I would glue this down. And then I would cut another strip, longish strip. So for instance, there's this long pattern here on this magazine page I cut out. So let's see if I could do a better job making a point. And this way. Okay, so then I could put this one, and if I wanted it fatter, I could just come and do this. Okay, so that would get glued, and then this one would get glued, and then I would just keep cutting these wonky wedge shapes and gluing them down and overlapping them. So what I've done is I've already collected ripped out different pieces of magazine, so I can find some of those longer areas of color, like here. This has this yummy. This is also. So does that make sense? Here's some sky. So just like some areas of longer pattern or color. This has this really neat texture here. Oh, this is a really pretty blue, big old chunk of blue. So I went ahead and I gathered a whole bunch of stuff ahead of time. So you just sort of, if you have a color scheme you want to do, you can go with a color scheme, or you can just sort of let your, intuition guide you on what you pulled out. I noticed I pulled a lot of blues and greens and some soft browns, and it could be because this page is so rainbow bright and colorful that I'm looking for something calmer. That could be why I was drawn to these colors. It doesn't really matter. This is what I was drawn to, so this is what I pulled out. And what I'm going to do, rather than gluing it onto this book, because I'm going to want to be able to cut all this extra bits off. Does that make sense? And it would be easier if I'm not fighting the binding on my journal. So somewhere buried, I have a piece of copy paper. Here we go. Piece of copy paper. So I'm just going to fold this in half, because this is what I made my pages out of, so I know it's the right size. And I want to find the center, so I'm going to fold it in half and fold it in half again. And that will give me my center point, where I can, you know, line up the points of my triangles as I glue. Does that make sense? So I'll glue onto this scrap piece rather than gluing directly into my book, and then it'll be easy for me to lift this up and do my trimming. And then what I may do is I may cut this just a little bit smaller once it's all done. I may cut it just a little bit smaller, so when I put it in my book, I have a white frame all the way around. That's what I'm thinking now. We'll see, because I'm notorious for changing my mind midstream. So I'm going to get my journal out of the way and see if I can start cutting some triangles that are a little bit fit a little bit better. And I'm going to be overlapping, so I'm not super concerned that this is like this perfect triangle. All I'm really looking for right now is that I have things that are longer. Okay, does that make sense? So I have my glue stick, I have my scissors, I have my gift card so I can smooth out what I'm gluing down onto my background page. And I have this glue catcher off to the side. So I'll be shuffling back and forth as I cut triangles and glue them, and then go cut some more triangles. So I'll just sort of be going back and forth and back and forth. Okay. So my center is not gonna, okay, I'm on purpose, first thing, I'm on purpose not having a straight edge right in the middle of, like not following that middle line. I'm having the straight edge veer off a little bit. And the reason I'm doing that is because our eye will naturally look for things that are vertical and things that are horizontal. It will naturally look for those types of lines. And I don't want a straight line to be the focal point. I want the eye to more flow around this wonky color wheel, or color rectangle, I guess I should say. This wonky color wheel I'll be making. I want my eye to flow around. So I'm trying to avoid having a straight perpendicular and having a straight horizontal. I want to avoid that so my eye doesn't train there. So I've got kind of a plain one. So now I'm going to go for a pattern. And I'm not worrying too much about these, the pointy bits, because they are going to get a little bit overlapped. That will probably end up being a little bit thick there, but that's okay. This blue. So I've made my color choices already by the pieces of magazine that I pulled out. So at this stage, as I'm gluing them down, I don't have to fuss too much about, do I like these two things together? Because I've already pulled patterns and colors I like out of the magazines already. So that's one decision made. I don't have to think about that anymore. Okay, now I need to cut some more. Here's another one. Here's some pretty sky. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of taking advantage of that corner, and rather than trying to cut a wedge, I'm just like going up from a straight and bringing an angle off of a straight. I'm just finding that easier to cut. So if that helps you. Okay, so there was extra glue here. So it was stuck on my protection, but that's okay. That's just funny. Bring in a green. Now this one is not long enough. It's not long enough to go this way, so I'm going to have to wait until, you know, I can come off to the side with this green bit. And I'm finding I don't want, I'm finding I have a lot of light color here. So my eye is looking for something with more contrast. That's why I'm not putting this light blue with clouds that I just cut. I think I'm looking for something with more contrast. So let's see. Do I like that, or do I like this? The green could come over here. Let's do that. Okay, like that. Now this one is almost a straight line. Let me show you there. It's almost lining up with that fold. It's not quite, but I think my eye is going to read that as straight. So I'm going to adjust this piece up so it's overlapping a little bit, so that my eye does not read that as a straight line there. Okay. All right, and I think what I'm going to do at this point is I think I'm going to trim some of these extra bits off just to make it a little less awkward. So I'm just using this as my guide of where to trim these edges, and I'll do that periodically just to get rid of some of the awkwardness. Now, some of these pieces I might, that one's not going to be long enough, but there might be some that maybe not. Anyway, there might be some you could use again. Well, I haven't used that one yet. This one's going to be a short one. That could come in there. It's a little bit angled, not quite straight. If I glue that down here, it's a little bit of an angle. So I think that one will work. I'll pull those two over. Here's some more clouds. Boy, this is really, I might be able to do that. That would be a tiny little strip of color. I saw these stairs. I guess I could do this. How do I do that? That adds some craziness into all this kind of muted blues and greens. Here's some more blue. It's a little bit deeper than that color, not quite the same. And this one is a little bit darker. Oh, there, that dress. Let's do that dress. That's a pretty blue. I have this really pretty so mostly blues and greens, but every now and again I have a pop of light color. This I was thinking just for this, this almost like a celery color. I don't know what you call that. I'm just kind of looking at both sides. I'm trying to remember. This is really pretty. I like that. Even though I'm not going to be able to read it as flowers, I like the colors, even the background bricks or whatever they are. And do I want to bring some light with the white? I think I do. So let's trim you straight, and then I can go this way. Okay. And then on this one, I saw both this. I thought that was a really pretty with all these lights, and then also just in here too. So I'm just cutting off that rough edge so I don't have to worry about trying to make sure that it's covered in my overlapping. That's a sweet little bird there. Okay, so I've got a lot of triangles now, so let's see what else. This is all garbage. Might be used for something else, but those are my offcuts. Okay. So that one that one's not long enough, so I need something long. This one's longer, so I could do that, but I feel like I'm getting a lot of brown here. That one's not long enough. Okay, I like that. What about this wild colors? Let's get some wild color in. Yep, let's do that. Now, red and green are